Hey, Emily. Emily Claire McFarlane. How are you doing this morning, girl? So it is spring break for you this week, and uh, it's Sunday. It's the weekend, and I've spent the last 2 days at uh, Lucidity Music and Art Festival. And let's see, what else is going on? I think Easter is on the 21st of this month. Hey, Google, what day of the month is Easter on in 2019?
Easter is on Sunday, April 21st, 2019.
21st. So that's in 7 days. So a lot of people are getting ready for Easter now. Um, Now, the question is, do I have any plans for Easter? No. No, I don't have any plans for Easter. I'd have to check my calendar. I don't think I've got much going on Easter. I don't know what day. If it's set. Maybe it's Sunday. Maybe it's Sunday. I wonder if Easter Sunday is Sunday. It probably is. Now that I think about it. Hey, that's kind of neat that it's on Sunday. Is Easter always on Sunday? You know what? It may always be on Sunday. See, here's the thing. I'm not very well tuned into the holidays, particularly religious holidays like Easter. Why, you might ask? Well, there's a good reason for that. I sort of grew up in a family that didn't celebrate holidays like Easter. I know. Amazing. So you might ask, what did we celebrate instead? Well, we had like Memorial Day, which, oh boy, was calculated in ways that I cannot fathom, related to lunar. I think it was a lunar calendar date, uh, and it is related to the Jewish calendar somehow. I'm not even sure that is a thing, but there must be some kind of ancient Middle Eastern calendar. That just goes to show how little knowledge I have on the subject. But I think Memorial Day was calculated somehow. And what did it have to do? Oh, it was a memorial of Jesus's death. So we didn't celebrate the holidays, we memorialized Jesus Christ's death. And that was the holiday. That was like the single holiday of the year. We had one holiday, and it was not a birthday. We didn't celebrate birthdays. It was a death day. That was the special day of the year. So the title of this video is, what holidays did our family decorate the home with? Or did our families celebrate by decorating our home? And the answer is that there were none. There were none. I guess that was easier on my mom, that's for sure. And I'm sure she appreciated having some relief, at least in that small way. Not needing to put up stockings or Christmas trees or decorate the house in that way. So yeah, there was no home decoration growing up. So I think that answers the question pretty succinctly. There was no home decoration. Yeah, I can't think of a time when the house was decorated. So now I look around and I do decorate my home for holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving these days. But my decorations are pretty low key. They're pretty low key. There are a few decorations and they're small. I remember in recent years I've had Christmas trees, put them up in my living room, and I put wreaths up on the doors, and have put tinsel around and twinkly lights around the home and things like that for Christmas. And I really enjoy doing that. It's actually a lot of fun. And the thing is, I don't have like a huge collection of home decor for the holidays. And in fact, I don't, at least right now, have a Christmas tree, which is interesting. But I do have some of the, I like decorating for the autumn holidays because decorations can be so beautiful. For example, the pumpkins for Halloween. I like, you know what? I like decorating with fruits and vegetables. Yeah. So, like, I use, for my autumn decorations, I'll use pumpkins and squashes, and I will place them in certain places on cabinets, on flat spaces, on counters, on my dining room table. And I find that's really appealing. So I use plants. No, I've actually not gotten a poinsettia plant before, but now that I think about it, that's a perfectly awesome thing to do. You know, using plants to celebrate the holidays, I think, can go a long way. And the great thing about plants is that they're alive. You know, you don't have to throw them away. Um, you know, it's not like some import you get from China and, you know, it's made of plastic and it's just a thing like made of glass or plastic. And you just sort of store it away in a cabinet the rest of the year. If it's a plant, you get to keep it out even all year round if you want. And so I like that. I like there are, you know, symbolic vegetables of the season, symbolic fruits of the season. And I don't know, that sounds better. And you know what? It's easier to get rid of a, a, a fruit or a plant. I mean, you can just eat it, right? If it's pumpkin or squash, you know, at the end of the season, after you've displayed it, you can make it for dinner. So it's eminently practical. And because it's made of biological matter, I don't have to worry about it not breaking down in the environment and becoming, you know, waste plastic that hangs around forever and ever and ever and never breaks down. So anyway, that's the trend I've got right now. I think I'm trying to use more plants, fruits, vegetables, things like that to decorate for the holidays with. You know, flowers, also another really good option. And they're not, you know, garish, you know, in the sense that they're like overly sort of over the top expressions of the season, right? They're muted. And I kind of like that. It's nice. It's adaptable, flexible, good for the environment, good for my body when I consume them. And it's nice. And now that I've got a soil moisture meter, it just makes it easier for me to, if I buy a plant like a flower or some plant of the season, I can take care of it better because of the soil moisture meter. You know, it helps me add water to the pot to moisten the soil when that needs to happen. So that's pretty nice. So let's see. I wonder what another question is. Have you ever helped a total stranger? And if so, how? Well, yeah, I've helped total strangers. I help them pretty regularly. You know, I open doors for them, and sometimes I'll, you know, if I see they've got a heavy load, I'll help them transport it from say, their car to some other place. I think there's a lot of ways that I help total strangers. And, and the fact is, not everyone's a total stranger. People who live in the world, they have to function and operate per norms and mores and rules of law. And, the word total stranger sort of implies complete sort of alienation. And that's not true. Most people are just hardworking people trying to get through the day. I know that I have feelings of goodwill for total strangers. We all have to live in this world together. And in a way, every person is my brother or sister or cousin. I'm related to everyone here on this planet. I'm related to all the living things, that's for sure, it's through DNA and through parents. And, it's really only society that throws the label total stranger onto people. That connotation just seems it seems harsh, really. But yeah, I help people I don't know. People who are begging in the streets. I'll give them, if I've got some extra cash, I'll give them, 5 or 10 or something like that. Maybe a couple dollars. I recognize suffering when I see it. Sometimes I don't recognize suffering when I see it, but sometimes I do. And sometimes there's not a lot you can do. I know, a lot of people have problems in this world, and not every problem I can solve. There was one guy, he came up to me and asked me for a job, just out of the blue. Can I do some work for you? Can you give me a job? Why is he asking me? He's just asking some dude on the street, can I have a job? It's pretty funny how it's funny in the sense about how odd it was. I suppose he's accustomed to doing day jobs. Even I was struggling with joblessness for a while when I was in college, particularly during the summer times. And I would go to temp agencies. I'd walk into a temp agency, give them my social security number, fill out a few forms, and get put on a list to show up for jobs. And, that wasn't a problem. I got lots of jobs that way. And in fact, I got lots of jobs that way. 20 jobs? Yeah, I probably had 20 jobs. I wouldn't. And some people can be helped by a job. I think a lot of people can be helped by having a job, really. Having a job is amazing. I love having jobs. Having jobs is great. You learn so much on those jobs. In fact, the funny thing is, I've had a lot of jobs. And the fact is that the more I do a job, the more I want to do a job. I'm just like, I love doing jobs. Doing jobs is awesome. Even all kinds of rudimentary jobs, like really basic jobs. I've done really basic jobs. I've bussed tables at restaurants. And you get into it. I know I got into it. First of all, you get good at bussing tables, right? You learn how to wipe down a table effectively with your rag, right? You learn how to stack plates and dispose of food in a efficient way, right? And you learn to clear up tables and you learn to organize chairs, and you know, you put the dishes from your cart into the kitchen, into the the kitchen area where they get washed by the dishwasher, and then maybe you wash dishes, right? You get really good at washing dishes, and the more dishes I wash, the more dishes I want to wash, right? I get better at washing dishes, and there's something about jobs that just I get into the flow. I get sort of like get hypnotized by the job, and I just after a while it just becomes natural. It just becomes second nature, and I do the job, and I want to do the job more, and I find better ways, more efficient ways to do it, and I get really good at doing the job. I could really literally stay in any kind of job. I could do janitorial work. I could do anything really, and feel content and be content in the world. So I'm really pleased that I can do that. Thankfully, the temp agencies exist, and they can make finding a job easier. The fact is, it's hard to find jobs. At least I thought it was hard when I was a kid, when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I didn't really get my first real job until I was 27 years old. And let me tell you, I really struggled to find the job that I wanted to do, or at least a job. Now, the job I've been doing now, pretty much I've been doing the same job since 2005. And it's 2019 now? So that's 14 years. And, every once in a while I think to myself, should I change jobs? And I understand that from a career standpoint, it's a good idea to change jobs every 2 or 3 years, right? Imagine all the things you learn. But I'm kind of the type that once I find something that I like, even that I feel relatively decent at doing, I don't want to change it. I've been in positions where I just don't know what to do, and I struggle. I would much rather have a job where I knew what I was supposed to do and just do it, instead of have this uncertainty about what I do next and what the rules are. That's rough, you know? But, maybe I just need to practice having different jobs. I've given different jobs a consideration. And I don't know. Here's the facts. I am a man of habit. I'm a creature of habit. When I get a certain pattern of behavior established, that feels really good to me. I'm in my happy place when things are, and what I can do too is that, well, I just had this thought that, no job is truly static. You're always doing new things. Even in the same old job, there's always new things to do, new people to talk to. You're always breaking new ground in pretty much any job. There's really no job that's totally static. There probably are jobs that are completely and totally static, jobs that a robot could do, I suppose. But, there really are always opportunities to do more, do things differently. So I'm sort of moving far afield from the subject that I originally started on when I was talking about helping strangers. When was the last time I helped a stranger? I don't know. I help strangers all the time. Now, that's not to say that I that I give them huge amounts of help, lots of help. I give them help on occasion, right? Anyway, so this morning I'm feeling kind of mellow, as you can probably tell. I think I only got 6 hours of sleep last night, and that's not for trying. I tried to get more hours than 6, but the old brain just wanted to wake up. So, I let my brain do what my brain wants to do. I've sort of learned to let my brain do what it wants to do. I am not in control of it. it just does its thing. It wants to be up. It wants to wake. It wants to eat food. Okay, eat food. It wants to drink. Okay, you can drink some water right now. My brain does what my brain wants to do, and I just sit back and watch it do its thing. It's my pet brain, basically. So yeah, I wanted to get some extra sleep, but it didn't quite want me to get more sleep. I think it felt satisfied. So this morning I am going to head out again to the Lucidity Music Festival. Definitely looking forward to that. Made a lot of great connections yesterday and the day before, and I'm excited to meet new people and hang out. I want to start hitting there are like tea shops where people just sit down and drink tea together. And I'm finding that is pretty interesting and stimulating. I like hanging around people. Sometimes they've got little question and answer cards. They've got interesting things on the tables that people can talk about. People talk about their experiences. They talk about their day. It's really encouraging. And I personally like to have conversations with other people. And so that's awesome. It's great. I also want to try what's called silent disco today. There are certain places that have these silent discos where people put on headphones and they're dancing in a space in silence. Of course, they've got headphones on, and that's where they're getting their music. But mostly it's silent. And so that's pretty cool. That excites me. I'd like to give that a try. So I'm going to see if I can make that happen today. But mostly I'm just happy that I can go back and forth to this festival and sleep in my own bed at nighttime and take a shower and eat my own food. It's good. It's good. And I haven't gotten sunburned either, despite being outdoors 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. So I do really good when it comes to making sure that I've got the sunscreen on. One part of the Lucidity Music Festival was a statement in one of their facts talking about the use of sunscreen and how it wasn't encouraged. I think that's funny. Why? Because I think people sort of underestimate how much of a problem skin cancer is. We live in an amazing time when we have sunscreens that protect us from ultraviolet radiation. Skin is only so good at protecting itself from UV light. UV light, I don't know if you recognize this, but UV light sort of is responsible for degrading pretty much everything. I mean, UV light is responsible for many forms of air pollution. It's responsible for the upholstery in your cars, on your car's seats being degraded, for your dash being degraded. It's responsible. UV light is responsible for the degradation of plastics, like PVC. UV light is responsible for the degradation of, so many things. Colors, pigments, UV light is a destroyer of things. It destroys skin. I don't know if you've ever had a sunburn before, but they are rather unpleasant because your skin basically feels like it's on fire. And any lifeguard will, I'm sure, attest to the damaging rays of the sun. And it's no joke. It's no joke. I don't know if you've ever seen images of old people who work outdoors and have been working outdoors for years. Their skin is thrashed. It's completely thrashed, and it's thrashed by UV light. Their skin is completely thrashed. And what I mean thrashed is deep creased wrinkles. Oh yeah, the collagen in their skin, that protein, has just been demolished. And man, if those people even had access to sunscreen as they were working outdoors, I'm sure the story would be a lot different, or at least a little bit different. So yeah, sunscreen is an amazing thing, a barrier between me and the ultraviolet radiation. It's a real thing. And I'm glad I'm aware of it. And I'm glad that I take conscious action to prevent serious problems. Really, I ought to wear sunscreen all day, every day. But I haven't made that a habit. I hope to make it a habit one of these days. But it just hasn't sunk in yet. I've many times entertained using like a UV blocking moisturizer every day, but I just haven't found the product that I want to use. I guess I just have to keep looking. Now, that's not to say that sunscreen is without risk. There are risks to using sunscreen. Sunscreen's made up of a lot of chemicals. It's quite often a mixture of 5, 6, 7 active ingredients. And, so you've got to weigh basically the risks. And that is, what are the risks going without sunscreen? Allowing the ultraviolet light to damage your skin. What are the consequences of that allowance compared to the danger associated with placing the risks associated with placing those chemicals in the sunscreen on your skin? It's a non-zero risk, right? I'm sure people, I'm sure that people have allergic reactions to those chemicals. And of course, those chemicals probably inhibit some certain kinds of, they may even be responsible for some cancer. Who knows? Let's say they're responsible for some cancer or some disease, but it's a calculated risk, right? I mean, the risk potential from all the ultraviolet light is like 100%. I mean, for many people, they spend 15, 20, 30 minutes in the sun and they're red, right? So I don't know. For me, the risk profile, the choice is rather easy. It's rather easy to me. I don't mind. It's basically about buying down risk, you know. And the fact is, ultraviolet light is a powerful force in the world. I don't think people truly understand the extent that UV lights plays in damaging materials. I don't know. Of course, something can be said for me and my own perception of the risks. Perhaps my perception of the risks is not calibrated. It could be that my evaluation of ultraviolet light as being a hazard is overblown. Maybe I'm exaggerating, and maybe I am. So, well, at least the decision is not, I mean, to wear sunscreen or not to wear sunscreen, it's not going to be the end of life on the planet Earth. You know, it's a decision that everyone can choose to make or not make. And, you know, skin has a way of adapting. Human beings have evolved on this planet over the years, and really they've done so mostly without sunscreen involved in the equation. And that's fine. You know, human beings have survived and thrived without sunscreen for many years, thousands and thousands of years. And so let's say we go another 1,000 years without sunscreen. That's okay. You know, people have a choice about how they want to live their life. And, you know, I'm not going to take away their autonomy. Emily, I'm curious about whether you have any views about sunscreen. I know that when you were growing up, I had a tendency to slather on the sunscreen on you. I would throw down layers and layers of sunscreen on you. I just pat you down your face. I'll tell you why I did that. It was because there were times when you were a kid. There weren't very many, but there was 1 or 2 times when you did get a sunburn. There was one time you got a sunburn. Your whole body. We were like at the beach in Hawaii, and you were completely covered in sunscreen, but there was like this quarter-size bit on the back of your shoulder that didn't get the sunscreen. Right? So we were on vacation, Sheila, me, and you, and this is after having played on the beach one day. And one night you began to really complain about this patch of sunscreen on your shoulder. I mean, this patch of sunburn on your shoulder, and you're, oh my gosh, you're crying. It was so painful. Of course, my heart went out to you, but it was like this quarter-size red spot. And it was hard. It was hard. First of all, it was hard for me to see you in so much pain. And then it was hard for you to be in so much pain. I mean, honestly, it wasn't a big deal. And probably 12 hours later, you didn't even feel it. But at least that night, you were complaining about sunscreen and raising a ruckus, rightly so. And it was at that point I thought to myself, you know, we've just spent the last few hours calming Emily, who has sunburn the size of a quarter on her shoulder. I would have, and here we are on vacation, I would have easily spent an additional 25 cents and slathered on sunscreen on her shoulders to make sure that I got all of her skin that was exposed to the sun, then have to deal with, 6 hours of complaints and bother on my vacation. So from that time onward, I committed to putting on lots of sunscreen. It was worth it to me. 25 cents, literally 25 cents more sunscreen saves the day. It saves the day every day. And when we were, Emily, when you had that sunburn, I think you were in Hawaii. We were all in Hawaii, and we spent like a week and a half in Hawaii. And so we had other beaches to go to. We had other days to hit the beach. And so, I just didn't want to be stopped again from going to the beach. And it was smart. I don't think you ever complained of a sunburn again. And that was when, I forget when we went to Hawaii. I think you were about 4 years old. And anyway, that was a good time. I really, really remember that vacation. I think I'm going to have to create a video where I just talk about my memories of our visit to Hawaii. It was a good time. I remember eating shaved ice with you and your mom. I remember we went to a running shop. We went to the Big Island of Hawaii, and it was just so beautiful there. I love the condos that we were staying at. I have vivid memories of the room and what it looked like, and how it was close to the beach, and how we saw a turtle release there. There was another beach that we went to where we were at a hotel, and we walked around the hotel. And what do I mean by turtle release? I think that there were just turtles on the beach that were giving birth to eggs, and they were creating their nests or something like that. I really am not, I can't remember exactly the details. Maybe they were releasing turtles into the ocean. I'm not sure what the reason was for the turtles, but I think we got to see them a little bit. We got to hang out on the beach. It was a good time. And we went to a lot of luau's. Thankfully, your mom was really good at organizing luau's, and we went to a luau like almost every night. And that was so nice to eat at those buffets. Yeah, I had a Mai Tai. I think it was a non-alcoholic Mai Tai. That was pretty enjoyable, and the waves were just crashing on the shores. A lot of the celebrations we had were on the beach. And I remember too, Emily, I don't know if you recall, but we went on a submarine trip. We went under the sea in a submarine, and it was really interesting. I can't believe we were in a little submarine. I know, that's amazing stuff. I'm guessing that you don't even remember these memories. Oh, I wish kids would still retain memories of their early youth, because really those are the only memories that I have with you that I can share, because I haven't really been around since you were 6 years old. I mean, I've been around. I've been asking to be around, but this separation has been going on for quite a long time, like almost 8 years now. And I guess we're making different kind of memories, right? Different kinds of memories. So let's see, what else is going on with me right now? Well, this morning I had a mango. In fact, I had 2 mangoes, and I'm really loving mangoes. I'm finding it's not that hard to remove the fruit from a mango. if you've got the right tools. I've got this mango tool that I can use to remove mango seeds from the mangoes, or the mango pits, or the mango cores. And it's a very useful tool. Mangoes are a particularly slippery fruit, and it's really important that I use some kind of tool, or else I think I really risk slicing up my fingers. And so I'm glad to have the tools there. I'm glad to have the tools. One of the things that I am worried about is slicing up my fingers with a knife when I try to get the fruit out of from a mango. And I think about all the people who in the past have injured themselves trying to take apart mangoes. Mangoes are so slippery. Their flesh is slippery. It's just like a papaya. And papayas are slippery too. A lot of these tropical fruits are really slippery. Have you noticed that? And you kind of need special tools to get into them. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call a pineapple a slippery fruit, but it's kind of a good idea to have a tool to get into the pineapple. I just talked to my friend Tara Trujillo using Instant Messenger, and she tells me that she's not a big fan of mangoes, and I don't blame her. For a long time, I wasn't a fan of mangoes, not a fan of papayas, not even a fan of pineapples. And those tropical fruits just are not necessarily part of our culture. And so I completely understand just not having an affinity for the tropical fruits. They are a milder flavor than what I'm used to, say like apples or oranges or grapes or strawberries. And so, I completely understand. I mean, I went through a period of not liking tropical fruits too, but now I like them a lot. And they're kind of available all year, which is kind of nice. Some fruits, like the pitted fruits, like the nectarines and the peaches, they're just not available all year round. But papayas and mangoes, I think they're available all year round. Pineapples, available all year round, right? They're from Hawaii. And so the weather there is fairer, and bananas, I think they're available all year round. Of course, bananas are an amazing tropical fruit that are just like the mainstay of the fruit and vegetable departments of pretty much every store I know, every grocery store. There's something, I wonder what being a banana farmer is all about. I wonder what it's like to have basically infinite demand for all of your bananas. I have a feeling that bananas are a very high demand fruit. The presentations of bananas in the stores, the hills of the bananas, they're like in every store. And I think everyone likes bananas. I think bananas are fed to babies, right? They're fed to little kids, and they're such a convenient and sweet fruit. I went through a long period of time when I didn't eat bananas, and that was fairly recent. Why? I don't know. I just wasn't compelled to eat bananas for some reason. Anyway, now I'm like a banana-aholic, banana fiend. I'll easily eat a bunch or two of bananas every week. They're just such a convenient fruit. They're not sticky. They're easy to take apart, like to remove the skin from. And I like them. They're really tasty. In fact, what I've been doing now is I've been taking bananas and I've been topping those bananas with caramel and chocolate syrup. And so that for me, they become a dessert. And they're kind of a healthy dessert, except for the topping. But, it's really pretty healthy. And bananas also go really well in smoothies. And I've had a fascination with making smoothies lately. And smoothies with a banana base and soy milk are just so tasty. I mean, they're amazing. And then I've also been having a lot of green smoothies where, I could just put away an entire batch of kale. And what I've learned is that when I'm having a kale smoothie, if I put pineapple juice, like pineapple juice chunks in it, that pineapple juice really sort of hides the bitter kale flavors of the kale leaves. So kale and pineapple, that's definitely the way to go. Recently, I've been watching videos about how to make fruit sorbets, and it's super easy. You could make fruit sorbets in a food processor using a simple syrup and frozen fruit. And I totally want to do that. Maybe next weekend I'll do it. Oh. So maybe next weekend I'll make a fruit sorbet. Or maybe some evening this week. It's possible. Maybe I'll make fruit sorbets on Easter. It'll give me something to do. So I am still listening to the audiobook Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And I'm really enjoying that story. Oh man, J.K. Rowling can really throw together an impressive story. I'm so impressed with her skills. I'm really just... This is what, the fifth book that I've listened to on audiobooks, and it's still just a compelling story. I've never made it through a series of books this lengthy before. And it's kind of funny. I feel like I'm developing relationships with the characters, the fictional characters. Like I'm really getting a sense of how they act and how they behave. And then I can also get a sense of when they're acting in character and when, say, J.K. Rowling's flubbed and, the characters are not acting in character. Not that J.K. Rowling flubs a lot. She is one of the sharpest writers I know. I have a sense that J.K. Rowling must write down a lot of the details that she writes about in her books. She must have like a different set of books that are just details about the color hair that these characters have. I mean, how do you keep track of all these characters? How do you keep track of all the events? She must have some kind of... There's like the book that she's writing, right? And then along with it goes this log, right? The details, all the qualities of the buildings, the storyline, the plot. I mean, I have a feeling she builds that. It's like writing two books at the same time. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that that's what it's all about. I mean, there's no way to write a series as detailed as J.K. Rowling's without having like a running journal that sort of pinpoints all of the details of the characters, like down to their hair color and their age and their middle names and last names. And I mean, I don't know how you do it. Their personality characteristics. I mean, she must have a profile written down about each of the characters in her book. And she also must have sort of an outline of the story done before she even starts the book. I mean, there's just no way. It's just so complex. So I'm definitely an admirer of J.K. Rowling's work. You know, she really is able to add an amazing amount of detail in the books she writes, and I don't know, I really admire her. I used to consider myself, I think I actually consider myself a pretty good writer. I certainly can't write the way she writes, but yeah, J.K. Rowling's really good. She needs to win like a Nobel Prize for literature. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to wrap up my video for now. I want you to know that I love you and I'm committed to our relationship, and that I'm focused on your needs and wants. And I want you to know that I respect you, and you know, my only interest is in supporting you in as skilled a way as I can. And I'm interested in helping you grow and develop to become an amazing woman that I have a feeling is just going to blow me away when I see you fully developed, say as a 25-year-old. I mean, how much will I admire you? Of course, that's still a long time away. That's still a good 11 years from now. You know, I'm really curious to see how your personality will unfold, about what elements of your personality will begin to express themselves. I think I've already seen glimmers of what your personality might be like, and I'm excited. It's sort of like baking a cake, you know. It's like there's a lot of this anticipation. I wonder how it's going to turn out. You know, I wonder how the story is going to evolve over time, and I kind of wonder just what you'll be like, you know. And I'm kind of interested to see how you'll explore all those avenues of life, right? Whether it's going to school or getting a job or going to college, you know, how are you going to navigate all those decisions? And you've got a lot going for you, you know. Number one, a significant benefit is that your family is not religious, which is great. You get to bypass a lot of that stuff that's just that, I don't know, that crazy book club. And your mother and father are also educators and professionals. And of course, your stepfather is also an educator and a professional. So that's amazing. You know, I didn't have that benefit necessarily. My parents just went to high school. And there's so many benefits that you have. You live in a really awesome little small town, which is great. I had that benefit. And, you know, I think your mom had that benefit too, growing up in Santa Barbara, which was a pretty small town in comparison to others, I think. It just wasn't a big city. And so that's great. You know, you don't have the problem with having too much urban around you. You know, you get to have some appreciation and enjoyment of the natural world. And as a child, I think that's really important. Also, you've got a lot of support when it comes to your education, your schooling. I think you're going to an amazing school with a lot of amazing support, and so pleased with that. So you got first of all, you're living in California, which is a really wealthy state. I grew up in New Mexico, which was a state that there's a lot of poverty and there's not a lot of wealth there. And so you get the benefit of that. I mean, you just have so many benefits. You've got a smartphone, computer, you got a laptop. I grew up without a computer until I hit like 12 years old. And even then, computers were not that good. I mean, we had Commodore 64s. They were basically as good for word processing, and that's it. I mean, I really didn't get into computers until, I mean, really, computers never really were that awesome until the internet happened. And then you've got the internet. I mean, I did not grow up with the internet. You have all this knowledge at your fingertips. It's amazing. I mean, I know it's kind of amazing just how privileged you are to have all these amazing things that your mom and I didn't have. Like, you have access to a phone, communication through text messaging that I never had growing up. I was, largely isolated from all of my high school friends because we just didn't have a mode of communication where we could talk to each other, except for at school. And we had phones and all, but nobody used them. So anyway, yeah. I'm pretty sure, Emily, that your life will be better than mine in terms of, there's certain aspects of it which will be just higher quality. And I'm glad for that. And I'm looking to reap the benefits of the future too. And so I want to keep myself healthy and happy so that I can live a long life. Now I'm actually starting to think that I might live as long as 90 years old. I've been looking at some of the statistics in the media, and they're telling me that I might live to age 90 if I play my cards right and I don't get injured or sick or anything like that. So that's awesome. I would love to live for 90 years. That would be amazing. I'm going to try to make that happen. So anyway, girl, I love you. And I hope to see you maybe even this spring break. That'd be awesome. Anyway, if not, that's all right too. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.